Madam Undersecretary Sherman, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here with you.
What influence has the direct talks between you, yourself and your Iranian counterparts had on the overall negotiations in moving forward?
I think some very important things are happening. We have a long and difficult history between the United States and Iran. But in fact, given Secretary Kerry's bilateral with Foreign Minister Zarif at the UN General Assembly, of course the historic phone call between President Rouhani and President Obama, and then my ability to have a bilateral in Geneva, we are beginning to understand each other, to see each other's needs and the aspirations of the people of each of our countries. And I think that's very valuable because in a negotiation, although we have many, many decades of mistrust that will take some time to get over, as President Obama has said in his UN General Assembly speech, you can only get past that mistrust by working together and to trying to solve problems. And Iran's willingness to address the international community's concerns about their nuclear program is fundamental to that.
Has there been any misunderstanding in your bilaterals?
Well, there hasn't been a misunderstanding in our bilaterals, but I think there has been a misunderstanding about some testimony that I gave on October 3rd, which was several days ago, actually. And in that, I chose some words in response to a member of the Senate that I think caused some concern among the Iranian people, and even I've heard from some Iranian Americans. And I think that those words spoke to this deep mistrust that President Obama discussed, and that we have to really work to get over that mistrust. And I think these nuclear negotiations will help us to do so. It will take time, as he said. When you have decades of mistrust that go back to 1979 in the Iranian Revolution, it's going to take a little time to get past that. We both need to work at it. I'm trying to do so. I believe my counterparts are trying to do so. And the best way to do that is to address issues of concern. And the most fundamental one for the United States is obviously the nature of Iran's nuclear program. The talks that we just had in Geneva were useful, a good first step. We will meet again on the 7th and 8th of November, and hopefully we will continue forward progress.
Well, what do you mean by the deception is part of the DNA?
You know, I think that really speaks to history. Historically, I'm sure Iranians believe we have been deceptive. And I think it referred really to what our history of mistrust has been. And as the President said, we must work to a place, and I believe President Rouhani wants to work to the same place, where there is mutual trust, mutual respect. It will take a long time for us to get there, but I will also say that I have said publicly, Secretary Kerry has said publicly, the President has said publicly, that we have great respect for the Iranian people, for the civilization and history of Iran, for all the remarkable things of Persian culture that we all enjoy, including the rug at our feet today. And so we will just have to work at this.
You know that you're on the front pages, hardliners asking you, they want you out of the negotiations. Will you leave negotiations under any outside pressure?
The President, the Secretary of State have asked me to lead the U.S. delegation. I think that colleagues would say that I am a fair, balanced negotiator, that I seek to solve problems, not to disparage people, not to gain unfair advantage in one way or another. I expect that from my counterparts. What I have seen in Geneva is a very different approach. It is a practical approach where each country of the P5+1 and Iran fight very hard for the interests of their country. That is what we are required to do. But at the same time are trying to solve a problem that we really want to solve. We believe what President Rouhani has said, but we now need to see concrete steps that will make real those words.
Last quick follow-up on this issue. Did you have any?
Well, you know, I think in any negotiation there are hardliners, there are moderates, there are liberals. We have it on our side as well. There have been people here who also think I'm being too easy in the negotiations, think I ought to be tougher in the negotiations. And there are people in Iran who have said disparaging things about the United States. You know, we are called the Great Satan and Death to America many times. We understand these strong sentiments because we do have these decades of mistrust. We are now trying to solve problems to get past that. It will still take some time, but we are committed to seeing if we can get there.
Have there been direct contacts since Geneva?
I have not been in direct contact with Iranian officials since Geneva. Our experts will be meeting on October 30th and 31st to work harder on the discussions that we had in Geneva. And then, as I said, we will meet again at my level, led by Foreign Minister Zarif and Representative Lady Ashton, High Representative Lady Ashton of the European Union, on the 7th and 8th of November in Geneva. And I hope we can continue to make progress. The next meeting, the experts' meeting will take place in Vienna, and then the meeting of the P5+1 will take place in Geneva.
Is Obama administration trying to delay the new sanctions?
We have had discussions with the Senate and with the House. I did a classified briefing for House members this week, and we've talked with Senate staff, and the Senate is out of session this week. When they return next week, I will go up and talk to the Senate. We think that this is a time for a pause to see if these negotiations can gain traction. The Congress has its prerogatives. We don't get to control Congress, but we are having very serious discussions. We work as partners with Congress. I think they've been very effective partners as we've tried to approach this negotiation. We need them to continue to be effective partners to reach a successful conclusion, and I have trust that they will be.
Are there small, quote-unquote, small differences, as some Israeli government officials suggested, between U.S. and members of?
Well, you know, there are no two countries who have identical interests. That is true of Israel. That is, of course, true between the United States and Iran. That is true between us and even Great Britain, who is probably our closest ally. We do not always agree. But what matters is what our ultimate objective is. And in all of these cases, in all of these countries, throughout the international community, the objective is to meet the concerns of the international community about Iran's nuclear program. President Rouhani has said that he sees this as a peaceful civil nuclear program. That is what we all want. That is what we are all striving for. That is the objective we all seek.
Will U.S. ease some of Iran's confiscated assets?
We will look at all of the options that we have in moving forward in this negotiation. We have had wide-ranging talks. Everything has been on the table. Everything has been discussed. I'm sure it will continue to be.
So this is not off the table?
We have discussed everything that we need to move forward in this negotiation. You know, one of the things that's very interesting about this round of P5+1 is we have agreed with Iran not to discuss the details. And that's really a sign of the seriousness of these discussions. And I am grateful for the discretion used by all of the parties in these negotiations, very important to achieving a good outcome.
Has the U.S. Negotiation team changed based on the?
Well, we have added some people to our team. We have always had nuclear experts on our team. This time we brought two sanctions experts, one from the Department of Treasury and one from the Department of State. I think that's been very valuable because obviously some sanctions relief of some sort is important for a first step. It will be quite important for a final step in this negotiation, and so I'm very glad to have them with me in the delegation.
Last question I have might be a little bit unrelated to the negotiation directly, but were there anything like Syria, like human rights, anything except nuclear negotiation?
The sole focus of Geneva has been on Iran's nuclear program and addressing the concerns of the international community and ensuring that Iran can have a peaceful civil nuclear program once it's met all its responsibilities and obligations, and the international community has confidence in the peaceful nature of that program. All other issues probably will await for another time.
So you're not planning to bring up any issue?
What I think that we are not, what the President said in his UN General Assembly address is that he believed that resolving this nuclear issue was critical to moving on to other issues and to the broader relationship. For us, this is a priority. This must be addressed. It is very hard to get to any other issues until this is addressed. We, of course, have concerns about all of the issues that you named, and many others as well. And I hope the day will come soon when we can address those concerns as well.
Madam Undersecretary Sherman, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.